That we are live.
Yes, Satyakam.
Yes.
I think we can start now.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. See, it is indeed a matter of great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this evening. This is the birth anniversary of Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. The Dibrugarh University has been organizing Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Lecture, preferably in the birth anniversary of the great legendary writer, in every year. The Center for Studies in Journalism and Mass Communication of Dibrugarh University, in collaboration with Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, has been organizing this event for the last 5 years. And this is the 6th memorial lecture we are organizing. This is an attempt to pay tribute to the legendary Indian author. And also, this is an attempt to open the path for discussions, for academic discussions on different topics related to Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya and the allied areas which were related to the study and work of Dr. Bhattacharya. At the very outset, I'm welcoming you all, including Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary sir and Professor Ranjit Tamuli sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University, who is the inaugurator of today's event, and Professor Chaudhary sir, who is the speaker of this event. I welcome you all, and with these few words from the chairperson of Dibrugarh Center for Studies in Journalism and Mass Communication of Dibrugarh University, may I now request the Secretary of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, Dr. Dipankar Bhattacharya, to kindly offer the welcome address of today's evening. Dr. Bhattacharya.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody, and namaskar. Today is 14th of October, and the 96th birth anniversary of the literary legend Gyanpith Awardee, ex-president of Sahitya Academy, and the creator of Ram Dhenujog, late Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. To commemorate the occasion, Center for Studies in Journalism and Mass Communication, Dibrugarh University, in association with Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust and Amtron, is organizing this webinar. Today's topic is Towards a Third Theory of Fiction and Journalism. We have invited few guest lectures, and today, due to some ill health, Professor Nogen Saikia, he could not be with us at this moment now, but his wishes are always here. And sir, get well soon. We wish you from here. And we have with us today Professor Ranjit Tamuli, Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University and the recipient of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee National Academic Award 2019 by Chanakya Foundation, Delhi, an educationist and renowned scholar having keen interest in literature and culture. I welcome you, sir, for today's webinar. And now, you will be very glad to know that today's very interesting topic towards a third theory of fiction and journalism will be delivered by our respectable Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary, sir. And Professor Chaudhary, as you know, he is an educationist, novelist, an orator, a writer, actor, reciter, playwright, poet, and he was the VC of Guwahati University, VC to Guwahati University, and ex-VC to Downtown University, and Pro-Vice Chancellor to Tazpur University. Sir, we welcome you for this webinar and thanks a lot for accepting our invitation. Then we have with us the most dynamic chairperson of Center for Studies in Journalism and Mass Communication, Dibrugarh University, Professor Satyakam Borthakur, as moderator, and who has been instrumental all along for last 6 years in organizing this oration program. So we are very much grateful also to him, and he has been a big motivation to our trust. And thank you, sir, for being with us. And lastly, I welcome all the participants today present, the students especially, and hope this webinar will be immensely useful to all of us, all of them, and especially the students get the benefit out of it. And with that, I wind up my welcome speech and hope you will enjoy the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dipankar Bhattacharya, the Secretary of Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, who has been associated with our university for a long time and who is assisting us in organizing this academic event in each and every year. And may I now request Professor Ranjit Tamoli, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University, to kindly deliver the inaugural speech. I request Professor Tamoli sir to kindly inaugurate the evening. Tamoli sir, please.
Very good evening to all of you. Respected Professor Nogen Soikia, eminent academician and writer, Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary, former Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University and Downtown University, Professor Satyakam Borthakur, Chairperson, Center for Studies of Mass Communication and Journalism, member of Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, and participant. First of all, I welcome all of you to this memorial lecture, which is organized by the Center for Studies of Mass Communication and Journalism, Dibrugarh University, in collaboration with Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust. I also extend my sincere thanks to Professor Satyakam Borthakur, who is the chairman of the Center for Studies of Mass Communication and Journalism, Dibrugarh University, for taking the initiative to organize this memorial lecture in collaboration with Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust. As you know that Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya contributed a lot to literature, especially to promote the modern Assamese literature. He was the editor of the historic Assamese literary journal Ramdhenu. He was the recipient of Sahitya Academy Award in 1961. Then he was the recipient of Gyanpith Award in 1979 for his famous novel Mrityunjay. He was also the president of Assam Sahitya Sabha during the period of 1983 to 1985. Today I am very happy to know that Professor Nogen Saikya has been invited as a guest of honor for the today's program, and Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary has been invited to deliver the 6th memorial lecture of Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya. I hope deliberation of speech by these two academicians and great writer definitely gives an immense benefit to all the participants, especially the student of Mass Communication and Journalism of Dibrugarh University. Once again, I extend my sincere thanks to all of you and offer my best wishes for grand success of this today's program. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tamuli sir, for your encouraging inaugural address. According to agenda, the next agenda was a speech, introductory speech by Professor Nogen Saikya sir. But as Dr. Dipankar Bhattacharya has told that Professor Saikya sir he is suffering from illness today, and due to health reason, today he couldn't join us, but he is offering his best wishes to us, and we wish his early recovery. And by skipping this agenda, we are going to the next agenda. And may I now request Professor Amarjyoti Chaudhary sir to kindly deliver today's memorial lecture towards a new theory of fiction and journalism. Professor Chaudhary sir, please.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor, Dibrugarh University, distinguished Chairman of the Center for Mass Communication and Journalism of this university, members of Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, participants of this webinar, invited guests, and distinguished teachers and faculty members of this university, and my dear student friends. I'm delighted to be a part of this webinar dedicated to the memory of Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya, organized by the Center for Studies in Mass Communication and Journalism of Dibrugarh University in collaboration with Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor for me that I have the privilege of providing this oration in memory of this great legend of Assamese literature. I begin with a title of a book, of a story, in fact, short story. It's called A Terceira Marzem do Rio. It's written in Portuguese, and if you translate it into English, it is like the third bank of a river, and it's written by a Portuguese writer, João Guimarães Rosa. Now, as you could see, the title is The Third Bank of a River. We are used to getting two banks of a river. Here in this story, in this short story, the father of a family, particular family, he decides to leave his family and society and stay in a canoe or a boat made by him, and he started living in the midst of the river. That started this concept of the third bank of the river. The third bank, the so-called third bank. In a similar fashion, if fiction is considered as a kind of a river, depicting the human activities, human actions and aspirations, then we know the two sides. I will come to what are the two sides, well known. But today we'll also be talking about the third side or the third bank of that river of fiction, or the third theory of a fiction and journalism. So the question comes, why this topic? To commemorate the birth anniversary of Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya. In fact, there is a definite link. And Professor and Dr. Bhattacharya, Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya, I used to know him because he, in my childhood itself, because he used to frequently visit my father, late Lakshadhar Chaudhary, and they were both having socialist leaning, and that's why they used to meet together, got together very often. And I could, this is the way I met him in very early in my life. And he would very often ask questions. And in fact, he would press the middle portion of the eyebrows very often and will always come up with a new question, almost from nowhere to me. And that's why I remember I used to call him as Prashnokhura. That means question uncle. And he very much liked this idea, this title, or the way I used to call him. He said, you have given me the right kind of epithet. And in fact, throughout my life, he asked very pertinent questions. And I will talk about three pertinent questions that he asked, and which gave me idea towards the third fiction, or the third theory of fiction and journalism. Now, there is another question at this point. Why are we looking for a theory of literature and fiction? This is because we know that at the present moment, it is the mass communication and journalism that is ruling the mindsets of the people. Things come from the cloud, somewhere from the cloud, and it gets distributed everywhere. And day in and day out, we are exposed to the ideas and words as pronounced by the mass communication and journalism practitioners. And that is why we know that one of the aims of the mass communication and journalism is to find the truth. But is finding the truth enough? Truth is good, but is it enough? If we think about a society, there must be some way of prospering, going beyond the day-to-day activities, the truths of the mere day-to-day activities, and going beyond. That is why there needs to be a theory. There needs to be a theory of the fiction and journalism through which we can combine the both. Then there is another portion we need to talk about, why we are combining fiction and journalism. I believe Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya is a shining example who combine both journalism and fiction in our literary field in a fashion which is somewhat similar to that of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who was a journalist, and later on he also started writing novels, fictions, and we know the kind of fiction he wrote in form of 100 Years of Solitude. The idea is that there is a close connection between journalism and literature, and in fact, it is on the shoulder of journalism that literature thrives. And why do we need theory for literature? Because in days of pandemic, for example, we always look for some kind of inspiration, some kind of new ideas. And that is why we need theory of literature, theory which says what should be the form of literature. And there should be some guessing, some guesswork, some, which works which has already been done, on the basis of which a theory can be formulated. Now, I'm coming back to Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya once again. And I told you that he asked me a number of questions throughout my life. The three of them had very pertinence and had got relevance to the ideas that we will try to promote today. The first question that he asked me came because in class 1, when I was studying in class 1, my father wrote a poem for me for my birthday. And it is called More Laksha, or My Ambition, or My Ambition. And it's a poem which is found in the early, nowadays in the textbooks of the primary and pre-primary. And this poem talks about being inspired through the ideas of Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru, Netaji Subhash Bose, all these different icons of India. So I used to recite it. And when I read it, everybody would normally praise me. But Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya was the first person who asked me a question after I completed the recitation. He asked me that, look, you have throughout the recitation, you have said that you will be Gandhiji, you will be Jawaharlal Nehru, you would like to be Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, you would like to be Jai Prakash Narayan, you would like to be Lachit Borphukan, but you cannot be all of them. Which one would you like to be? I was not prepared for I was a child then, and I admit, I was not prepared for the question. And it stirred in me many ideas, many thoughts. And in fact, later on also, when I pondered on this question, it led me to the question of my very existence. So this is the first question through which he sort of rattled me, forced me to think about. Then came the second question. That was in class 9. And one day, as he was talking to my father, suddenly he turned towards me and he asked me, what would you study after this? I told him that I would like to pursue science. Then he called me to him, and he started asking the second question. The second question was, tell me, you don't have to tell me today, that is what he said, but find the answer to this question. Is there a similarity between the life forms of trees and plants and that of our human beings? Of course, that was too much of a difficult question for me. And I didn't know the answer, so I had to consult the books and journals. And although he asked me this question when I was in class 9, only when I studied my pre-university classes, I was able to get to the answer of this question. And I could see, and I told him that I have found the answer like this. So he asked me, what is your answer? So I told him, of course, this was not my invention, but I got it in the books. Or my discovery, but I got it in books. What is the answer? The answer is that what provides energy to the plants, it's the chlorophyll, we know. And in the chlorophyll, there's a portion called a molecule called porphyrin. And in the porphyrin, if you analyze its chemical structure, then you find that along with different atoms, it has a structure, and at the center of this, it's a magnesium atom. And it is this atom that gives the greenish color to plants and trees. Similarly, we know that it is hemoglobin which gives energy to us, to our cells, different portions of the body as it runs through our body. And hemoglobin also, there is a portion or a molecule called porphyrin. And porphyrin, there also, it has almost a similar structure as that of the trees and plants, except that at the center, there is an iron atom. And it is because of that, blood it looks red. So, a very important molecule or structure of the life form, which provides the energy, has got similar structure, and there is only a difference of an atom. So there is, or in other words, we want to say that there is a lot of similarity between the life forms of plants and trees and human beings. So there is a kind of, even at that time, it is through this question that I knew that he knew the answer. He asked me only to to arouse curiosity in me so that I go to the proper answer. And I could see that there is a similarity in the life forms between the trees and plants and that of the human beings. A lot of similarity. So kind of solidarity I felt with it is with this that I felt solidarity with the human beings and the trees and plants, all life forms. And that is the day when I answered this. He pointed out towards a Borgit by Ankorde, where these words are uttered, that Ogo Nogo Jogo Teri Kaya. That means everything, O Jota Jiva Jangama Kita Patangama, Ogo Nogo Jogo Teri Kaya. All life forms, whether moving, non-moving, whether it's the world, it is a part of the same body. So there is a kind of similarity. And it is from these that we know that the human beings are formed, the cells of our body are formed from the dust from the distant stars. So in a way, we all of us are made of the similar material. So there is another kind of similarity between the life forms of us, the human beings, and also all life forms. So even at this level, there's a kind of similarity. Then the other question that came was when I came to the college, and I believe I was in first year of my studies in the BSc physics program. And the question was, okay, we know that there was a Big Bang, and there was because of the Big Bang, the planets, first these particles were formed from energy to particles, then particles clustered together, and planets were formed, stars were formed, supernovas were formed. All these different distinguished elements in our system, universe, were formed. And then in particular moment on Earth, life forms also appear. And these life forms gradually shaped into different types. But his question was that we all know this, that how life appears, or how the creativity appears. But tell me, this was his pertinent question, tell me, is biodiversity good or bad? Is diversity good or bad, for that matter? So again, I could not answer him that day. So again, he forced me to think. And I could see that in the initial days of the Big Bang, there were similarity or symmetry everywhere. Everything was similar. All the directions, things were similar. But then, slowly and slowly, different forces started into coming. Diversities of forces came. Diversities of particles came, elements came, diversities of atoms came, and then all the life forms came, and different life forms appeared, and finally biodiversities appeared. And we know that whenever there are biodiversity, new life forms are formed. So, or similar to that, whenever there are different types of people, different ways of people, different cultures of people meeting together, we find this diversity leads to more and more creativity. So this was the answer. So we said that even I told him that it is because of these reasons that even science supports that diversity is good. And he was very happy and he said, yes, that is what I wanted to hear from you. And it is because this diversity is good. Although people may look different, they may be of different color, different, their eyes may look different, but then they are essentially the same people, and that is why they need to be told. Then that is why we need to have a common kind of heritage, common kind of solidarity with human beings. Not only human beings, all life forms. In fact, it is a cosmic solidarity. And I was amazed at the vision that he provided to me. Now thinking about literature and journalism, if we think about its ways, how it behaves, and what are things expected of it, we know there are already two types of things exist. Two types of fiction, for that matter. What are these two types of fiction or two types of journalism? What are these two types? One may be called narrative fiction or narrative journalism. What is narrative journalism? Where you describe the system. Yes, this is what has happened, and you leave the rest to the person to feel it, and that forms his kind of journalism, that forms his kind of literature. So narrative kind of literature is one type. Now, because we are in this area or the era of pandemic, that is why we like to refer to pandemic, the fictions doing studies on pandemics. So that will be more pertinent. So if we, there's a book by Elizabeth Putke, and it is called Viral Modernism. And there she tries to study different kinds of fictions. So this is one kind of fiction she talks about, narrative fictions. In the narrative fictions, the things are described. For example, in Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, she has got influenza, and because of that, heart is affected and she suffers, and there is the illness is a kind of spiritual suffering, and this suffering, spiritual suffering and bodily suffering, but very personal, and that personal suffering is brought into highlight in her novel. So this is kind of narrative, kind of novel. And the other one is what we call the prescriptive kind of journalism or fiction. So there you give what has actually happened, you describe it. Of course, there are also truths needs to prevail in both the cases, but here also truth needs to prevail. But in addition to that, there is also some extra meaning or extra suggestions. Whenever we talk about meaning, the two theories are very important in modern times. One is the existentialism, which tries to provide meaning. He says that as such, the world has got no meaning, but we need to provide meaning through our own action. That is the kind of existentialism. There is another theory we note, absurdism. What is absurdism? That it says that, yes, here also it tries to find meaning, but at the same time it realizes that it is an impossible thing, that the world is an absurdity and trying to find a meaning is impossible, but still human beings need to wage a war to find meanings. This is the kind of thing. So if we think about the absurdist kind of novel, we know, and in pandemics, then we must refer to La Peste by Albert Camus. Here there is the protagonist is Dr. Ryu, and he goes to the sufferings of he attends to the to lessening the sufferings of millions of people, not millions, but large number of people. And then he also believes that it is through this that he could provide some meaning. But yet he finds that he knows that in the novel it's suggested that this pandemic will come back again. And in that sense, he feels hopeless, and he feels like the old Sisyphus who used to take the rock to the tip of the cliff, and then it falls down again. Again, it has to bring it. And all this keeps on going and going up and going down. This continues. And so that is why life is an absurdity. That is the second front. If we think about one is the narrative and the other is the descriptive. Now we come to the third front. Why do we need to go to the third front? Just before that, there is also, I will refer to another novel by Orhan Pamuk, which has not yet been completed, Night of the Plagues. He has started writing. And Orhan Pamuk has said that this pandemic has, he has just written in a piece of article that this pandemic has put us into tremendous kind of mental suffering, human beings. And it is through this human suffering that, but the human suffering is entirely personal. So that at that level, it is entirely personal. But because we know that everywhere the same kind of feeling is being felt by other people also, there is a kind of solidarity. So he talks about solidarity of humankind. And he says that if we mix the decency of dedication, which was shown by Dr. Ryu in the novel by Albert Camus, along with the solidarity of humankind, then probably things will be better. I also agree. But then there is a kind of, even in this, there's a kind of coercion. There's a thought of coercion in the sense that you are trying to put the solidarity of humankind as a kind of imposition on every people. If it comes spontaneously, how it can come spontaneously? If we present the facts. If we present the facts which Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya pointed to me during my childhood and later on as I grew up. And through the questions, through the ideas, he showed us a vision of a world where there is a cosmic solidarity, not only between human beings, but also all life forms, in fact, entire cosmos, there's a kind of solidarity. So if these facts are given to people, normally our cultures is like that. C.P. Snow has always talked about two cultures, science and arts, for example, and they do not mix. But if we mix these cultures, then what happens is that we get a kind of facts. So even if the students of literature or the students of journalism are also led through these ideas provided by science, that there's a kind of cosmic solidarity which are based on solid foundation facts, then there is no need for coercion. There will be a spontaneous show of for concern for human beings. And if this third theory is adopted, we believe, treading on the path shown by Dr. Virendra Kumar Bhattacharya, I believe, and we believe, and in fact, it is on this team that I have been working along with a friend of mine, Professor Bijoy Barua, who worked earlier in IIT Delhi, and now he's working in IIT Ropar after his that assignment. So we are working on this, the third theory, and we hope that this will provide the kind of background or the support or the direction on the basis of which future human activities can be projected in novels, in journalism. So whenever we write about journalism, truth, of course, will be discussed, but together we will also ask the question, does it show cosmic solidarity? Does it show at least solidarity with all life forms? Is it convenient for all life forms, the suggestions that we are giving? So if this kind of consideration comes, we believe that there will be a better future for the humankind. And why there is journalism and why is there literature? Yes, of course, it is to understand human beings, the inner emotions, inner ideas, how the inner thoughts come about us. But then it also means the literature and journalism, more especially journalism, it has got also some other intentions. It also needs to show the society as to which way to go. So whenever the society is in doubt, this could be, the cosmic solidarity could be the path along which we need to tread. So this is the third kind of, why it is called third? Because they are, first is narrative, the second is prescriptive, and prescriptive also there are subdivisions, but there are coercions. But now we come to something, a prescriptive, but with spontaneity. So this is like a third kind of existence, like the existence the boatman had in this story of the third bank. So we are having a third kind of existence through this theory. So I would urge my friends in literature and also journalism to think about this cosmic solidarity, this idea of cosmic solidarity, and whether there is the kind of spontaneity which will run because of these are based on solid facts, based on solid scientific facts, and these will be spontaneous, and there'll be no coercion, and people will like to come to one another's help because of this. So I would end my talk with by looking at one more example. So when I was talking that the cosmic solidarity or the solidarity with all life forms, then something like this happened during this pandemic itself. The day was when there was a pink moon. I believe those who are students of science, they know that there is something known as a pink moon. Even literature students knows. There's a pink moon, and the pink moon came, and on that night, a deer, mind you, a deer came to Guwahati city, and it came to the courtyard of another person, a big building, and there the deer was having, it was wounded, and the family attended to it the whole night, and then in the morning the deer went away. So then there was a question amongst us that, okay, the human beings did the service to the deer in a kind of solidarity, but would the deer be able to do it? Yes, of course, it may not have that consciousness. But then we know the deer is a part of the cycle the food cycle, the cycle of conservation, and it is based on scientific facts. And if deer is taken away from that cycle, then we are at a loss. Our lives will also be in danger, endangered. So this is a kind of cosmic solidarity, and with all life forms, and this can be the compass for literary beliefs. Whenever we are in doubt, something has happened, and whenever we need to find out to ourselves what needs to be done, this can come as a compass. With these, I am very grateful to this legend, Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, who put these ideas into me. And with those ideas, even in this later years of my life, I can keep on thinking, building on it, and still getting new ideas. So that shows the kind of genius, the kind of thinker that Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya was. And we hope that the entire generation, our generation and also the younger generation together, we will like to go through his ideas once again in a spirit of inquiry, in a proper spirit of inquiry, so that we get the guidance. We get the guidance in these difficult times, during these times of the pandemic, during the times of the war, or during the times of the difficult days of election. With this, once again, thanking the organizers for allowing me this platform to talk about. I thank you all, and I conclude. Thank you.
Sir, your voice is not coming. Satyakam sir, your voice is not coming. No, sir. No, sir, your voice is not coming, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sodhuri sir, for an excellent deliberation. We have learned a lot. We have learned a few new ideas about cosmic solidarity. It's really a brilliant and exceptional deliberation. We are very, very much grateful to you. And thank you. Thanks for your presence today. I think all of our students and participants, they are benefited, and wish to have many more lectures in future also, and giving us new ideas. Thank you, sir.
Sir, there are some online questions, sir, if you want to take, sir.
Okay, sir, there are some questions for you. I mean, are you taking it, sir? Chaudhary, sir? Satyakam, there are some questions.
Yeah, it is not in my screen.
Hello?
No, I think online questions, sir.
Yeah, if they are not very difficult, yes.
Yes, it's not difficult.
Yeah, if I can answer it, yes,
Okay,
of course.
Deepak sir, I send you in the chat box, sir, the questions.
Can you send it to Satyakam?
Yes, sure, sir.
Yeah, please.
I send it, sir.
Lakshadweep
I also
Gogoi
sent
Hande.
about Jyoti sir also.
Dr. Chaudhary sir, may I ask you, one question was there. Okay, fine. Fine. Lakshadweep Gogoi Handik, she has one question. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chaudhary sir, may I ask you if fiction comes first or theory comes first, or rather, can literature be created wearing the straight jacket of a predetermined theory?
I mean, life is always difficult, and life is always very colorful, and it has got more. I mean, it throws up so many new ideas. The life that theories often cannot do, often grasp it. But then theories, I believe what the questioner has asked the right kind of thing. Yes, theory is not the main thing for fiction, but then if we need to develop a theory as a kind of compass to which way we need to go. But yes, there will be always new thinkers who will find new paths and bring in new ideas. So theories are mostly for general kind of people. There are always exceptional people, and in fact, only these exceptional people give more kind of solidarity or more kind of strength to fiction. So I agree with the questioner, the person who asked it, that fiction, it is always the fiction which comes first. It is not from the theory point of view that you have a theory and you straitjacket these ideas. But then whenever the prescription, if the ideas come for what is right, prescription, then some kind of if we at all need to give prescription, then it can be on the basis of some kind of theory. That is my observation. But I fully agree that fiction is totally independent, and it needs to be independent. It should not be subservient to a theory.
Yeah, okay. There was a question from Archana Buragohai, who was the first Assamese literature to receive Jnanpith Award. Is of course is Brenda Kumar Bhattacharya. Pulakjyoti Sharma, he says that the third fiction, but I believe that this is the third theory of fiction is a great idea. How can it be widely spread among the working and upcoming journalists? Please, sir. How this third theory can...
I mean, these are what I have told is not that these are that I have drawn from some. I mean that there is no mention of it anywhere. These are already known facts, and only thing this needs to be presented in a coherent manner. And if we know that, yes, my body and Dr. Satyakam's body both are coming from the stardust of the same material, and we can feel a kind of solidarity, and then the kind of concern for human beings becomes more and more deeper. That is what I wanted to say. But then these are scientific facts, and these scientific facts, if these are presented in books or in textbooks, the way Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya led me through these questions, these ideas, I strongly believe, even at this late year of my life, that this will be very good and very useful to students and also for all people to come.
Thank you, sir. JP Das has added one point that he was the founder president of Assam Fine Art Society and Neil Pawan Burwa as the secretary in 1972 at George Field, Guwahati. Okay, fine. Thank you for this addition. And he was the founder president of Assam Fine Art Society. Okay, fine. 1972. Just I believe that this is an addition to the credentials of Mr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. Thanks for this information. And okay, Indrani Borgohai wanted to know more about his fictional writing. Okay, Borgohai, without passing this question to the orator of this evening, may I request you to kind of go to the website of Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Trust. There will be ample information about Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. You can go through it, and you can, if you want to go read more writings of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, then you can collect the books of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya after getting information from the website. So this was a very interesting evening, and it was, of course, it was naturally it was a very interesting evening to listen Professor Chaudhary sir, who is basically, I believe that basically he's a poet, but from his hair to foot, I believe that he's a poet and he is an artist. Though he's a man of physics, and he has headed two great institutions, Guwahati University and Downtown University, at the rank of Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellor of Tezpur University. He was a great administrator, but I believe that he is a great artist, and from his core of heart, he has expressed his thoughts about the third theory of journalism and fiction, and he it is I think it is little it is more expansion of some kind of humanism or modern thoughts, which may be addressed, which may be discussed by the future generation or the within very short time. I believe that this will be a matter of discussion for the literature lovers, or for the readers or the critics of our literature. And I again offer my sincere thanks and gratitude to sincere thanks and gratitude to Professor Chaudhary sir for his kind deliberation, for his erudite speech, and we have learned a lot. We got a lot of information from his speech, and also he has opened the path for new study by opening discussions on a very new topic. Thank you, Professor Chaudhary sir. We offer our sincere thanks and gratitude to Professor Ranjit Tamuli sir for his speech, inaugural speech, and also we offer our gratefulness to Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust for giving us the opportunity to arrange this lecture for 6th year continuously to commemorate this legendary writer of Indian literature, whom we believe that he is an iconic figure of Indian literature. And if we go outside Assam, then if we want to identify Assam from the literary perspectives, then Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya is a figure whom we can cite. So it is a very, of course, it is a great opportunity for us to for getting the opportunity to organizing this event for 6th year, and we believe that our cooperation, our collaboration will it will be continued for future also. And with these few words, offering thanks and gratitude to all the participants, the members of the Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya Memorial Trust, and all who are associated with this event, especially the persons behind all this technical arrangement from Amtron. We offer our sincere thanks to Amtron people for offering us technical collaboration to arrange this evening. With these few words, I declare this event is over for today. Good night, and have a nice evening. And we believe that we'll meet again for just type of academic discussions in the near future. Thank you. Good night.